Hi everybody and welcome to my workshop. It's the middle of winter here in Ireland and I've been really busy rough shaping bowls, milling logs and filling my kiln because it really is the perfect time of year to get everything off to a slow start when it comes to drying. But when I woke up this morning there was a blanket of snow everywhere, which is really unusual for Ireland, and temperatures were down to -7 Celsius. So I decided to come into the workshop and work on this new piece. This piece has been inspired by one that's in our National Museum in Dublin, made from bronze about 2,500 years ago. And I really like its clean lines and simple, pure form. The widest point on the bowl is roughly about 1/3 of the way down the bowl. It's got a very delicate little bead here on top, and it's also got a round bottom. So when you put pieces into the bowl, because it's got a flowing curve on the inside, if it's food, it'll fall naturally to the center of the bowl, keeping it stable on the table. The closed form really does offer a challenge with the bowl gouge, so it's perfect for honing your techniques. Before I start turning, let's take a quick look at the 5 tools I'm going to be using today. So the first tool we look at is a 5/8 inch bowl gouge, and this one is called the GL number 4. So it's sharpened to 55 degrees, and then the heel is ground away at a random angle. That second bevel doesn't really matter, but it really helps get around the inside of the bowl. And you'll notice there's a curvature to the cutting edge, and that makes it very, very useful when it comes to shear cuts. The next tool for finishing cuts is this one here. It's called the GL number 5. It's 1/2 inch or 12mm diameter bar, sharpened to 45 degrees, and again with the heel ground away, and then with a curve on the cutting edge as well. The next tool is the diamond point scraper. So this scraper is going to be used for cutting the tenon or the dovetail on the bottom of the bowl, and this is sharpened exactly to the same angle as my Vic Mark dovetail jaws, which is 77 degrees. The bottom bowl gouge, or GL number 6, is sharpened to 60 degrees. It's got a really short bevel, and then the wings are not ground back near as far as the other tools. And then finally, we're going to use the GL1 French curve scraper, negative rake scraper, and this is sharpened to 33 degrees on each side. The piece of wood that I'm working with today is Irish ash, and it's been air drying in my timber store for several years. The dimensions are about 22 centimeters in diameter, so that's roughly about 9 inches, and then about 10 centimeters deep, which is about 4 inches. But the exact dimensions don't really matter as long as you enjoy the process and you're happy with the finished piece. Remember, I'm just working with what I have here in stock rather than this being exactly what you need to make this. So the first thing I'm going to do is use a faceplate and 4 screws. And the reason that I'm using a faceplate rather than a screw chuck is that if the surface is not completely flat on the blank and the faceplate is rocking, or the screw chuck is rocking, it's not going to seat up securely. One of the advantages of a faceplate is that you can, for example, position 2 screw holes on, or 2 of the screws on the high point, and then adjust the side screws to balance out the gap underneath the faceplate. So I'm going to work with the center hole that is here when marking out the circle using a compass before bandsawing, and I'll just eyeball it from above. And when I put in the screws, the first one I don't put in the whole way because it has a tendency of pulling the faceplate around with it, and then we'll go directly in the other side. So I've positioned the faceplate so it is sitting on the two high points here, and it's now able to rock from side to side. But this other screw, I'll screw it the whole way home, and then I'll come back to this one. And with these screws, I have to be a little bit more careful because these are the ones that will pull the faceplate leaning one way or another. So let's go in there. And it's not screwing up completely tight there yet. I still have a gap underneath it. We'll do the same on the other side. And what you might find very useful in this situation is even a handheld screwdriver where you can back off one screw and tighten another until the gap on both sides is exactly even. So the next step here is to get it on the lathe. And what I do is I feed it on using the hand wheel, and just before the faceplate meets the spindle, I'll give it a little tap, and it means when you hit the stop switch, it's not going to unscrew. So I'm going to bring in the tool rest there and have roughly about 8 millimeters, 5/16 gap between the tool rest and the piece of wood. Let's just check that it's running okay, and we are pretty much ready to go. So the tool that I'm going to use first of all is the 5/8 inch bowl gouge, and this is called the GL number 4. I'll just grab my faceplate there, and we'll just get this turned down into a circle so it's running through. The lathe speed is running just a little over 800 RPM, and once I get it through up, then I'm going to increase the speed maybe to about 1000.